on our live webinar series, Moneyfy Mantra, where we speak with some industry experts on various personal finance topics to help educate our viewers on managing their personal finance more efficiently and empowering them to build and grow their savings and investments. My name is Harsh, and I'll be your host for today. If you are a millennial, and you would have definitely seen Amitabh Bachchan giving his lessons, and to his students in the movie Mohabbat. परंपरा, प्रतिष्ठा, अनुशासन, ये इस गुरुकुल के 3 स्तंभ है. So traditions, honor and discipline are 3 pillars of a great institution, and यही आदर्श है जो आपको आने वाला कल बनाते हैं. और यही प्रिंसिपल्स है इन्वेस्टिंग की दुनिया में आज भी उतने ही इम्पोर्टेंट है. जो सक्सेसफुल इन्वेस्टर्स रहे हैं, इनसे हमें बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है. उनके जो ट्रेडिशनल तरीके रहे हैं फॉर इन्वेस्टिंग, मेंटेनिंग अ डिसिप्लिन्ड अप्रोच विद लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टिंग एंड टू हैव अ रिस्पेक्टेबल रिस्क एंड रिवॉर्ड बिफोर मेकिंग एन इन्वेस्टमेंट डिसीजन. आज का हमारा टॉपिक है इन्वेस्टिंग लेसन्स फॉर मिलेनियल्स, एंड टू कवर द टॉपिक वी हैव CG Vidyadhar from Tata Mutual Fund. Vidya, a very warm welcome to Moneyfy Mantra. Vidya, you are on mute.
Thank you very much.
So Vidya comes from 2 decades of experience in mutual fund industry. Where he has worked in areas of sales and distribution, business excellence, and he's currently part of the training and development team of Tata AMC. He has conducted multiple programs across spectrum of industry on topics that include understanding mutual funds, debt markets, financial planning, taxation, etc. Now, before we jump to our topic for today, let me spend some time to explain, our Moneyfy app by Tata Capital. So, Moneyfy app is a complete suite of, offers complete suite of products digitally, 100%. For all your personal finance needs. One can start investing in mutual funds through SIPs, or they can do a lump sum one time. Invest in small cases. Start their fixed deposits, open a retirement pension account through NPS. That also helps you save some taxes. Apply for all types of loans and insurance products as well. So it's basically a one-stop shop for all your personal finance needs. You can download our Moneyfy app by clicking on the link, given in the description below. So please do check our app, and you will, definitely, find it useful, to manage all your, financials related requirements. I would also request all our viewers to, subscribe to our Tata Capital's YouTube channel to get regular updates on Moneyfy Mantra. In case anyone wants to, share their comments, have any questions on the webinar, please feel free to use the live chat window. We'll try and take, the questions towards the end of the session. So, Vidya, over to you.
Thank you very much, specifically for Tata Capital for inviting us here on this seminar. And good evening and welcome, friends and investors. You might be at various stages of investments. You might have been a beginner in the investment. You might have already had a great experience in the investments, in the world of investments, or you are just here plainly to just ease around and see what this session throws up for you. Investment as is not different from one's own life. It's just a part of one's own life, like many areas of life. So investments is also a part of life. And we do understand when it comes to investment, how serious specifically many investors are while taking some decisions of investments. And that's what we are going to look at. Maybe I will share a bit of information that I have gathered together, but definitely on a platform, we will see how we can interact on that. Please help me out with that. You're able to see this slides. Is it visible? Great, thank you so much. So if you look at millennials is somewhere between 1981 to 1996 or so. So if you're around 40 years, 25 to 40 years as on date, this is where you under this category millennials are. And then there is so much of preferences that this set of generation does have more technology savvy than what predecessor generations are, and more time conscious, more value for money, more service oriented, and there is a lot of human touch also for whatever you do. This category of investors too would want to also see how they can benefit by and large themselves and the society around, the people around. So this is the category which we are looking at, millennials. But definitely, as we move along, this can be open for many other investors as well. Though by category, this is what we are looking at from the age group wise. But to start the journey, all of us, सब लोगों के लिए, there are certain needs and certain aspirations, and that is a part and parcel of our life. Like without some need, right from our childhood, there are certain needs that we get educated on certain stream, we get educated on, make a career on certain things, and same is the case with financials. When we look at, our fulfilling on various investment needs, there are certain needs and there are certain aspirations. It is very pertinent and important to understand and sometimes distinguish the difference between the needs and aspirations. For example, if you look at the first and foremost thing for anybody who would want to, who are settling specifically at the early age or at some point of time, there is a need for a security. My life must be secured. My family life must be secured. The people whom I'm living with, I must secure their thing. That is the first. That's a need actually, and it is not an aspiration, but it is definitely a part of the need. And how well I'm able to look at those securities and how well I'm able to cover that security for myself and my family is going to be a need. And hence, every decision that I take from the investment angle as an investor would revolve around this need per se. Then there are needs. Education needs is a part of everyone. Every human beings wants to get educated, and this becomes either one wants to go for a higher education but for oneself, or provide education for their own near and dear. There's a need, and hence, planning around those events and see how marriage is also maybe an aspiration in some cases and a need in some cases. It's a mixed bag. People may want to get married early, people may not want to get married. Preferences are changing. There are a lot of changed circumstances, and so it can be debatable whether it is a need or an aspiration, but definitely that becomes a important part of one's life. And house is also a particular in some way or the other. Sometimes it becomes a need for people because it's a security for the rest of the life. One can live in their own houses if they would want to plan. That is one of the reasons. But they can be also an aspiration, because not everybody may not want to buy a house. Okay, everybody may want to have more choices, maybe create wealth to live in various houses rather than being fixed in their mindset that instead of buying one house, let me just create wealth and just move on from one house to the other. Maybe sometimes I might want to live in a palatial bungalow, sometimes I might want to plan for living in a simple apartment, sometimes I might want to just choose anything that I would want, and what it takes is to have a corpus for it and then move on rather than getting fixed. And fixed asset like home also has its own advantages, and both ways are there. There are changing dynamics around, thought processes around owning a house or versus living in multiple houses, not constraining oneself to a geographical location per se. Vacation or a vehicle is also a different need. Can be, sometimes it can be a need for a family which requires it to go, or it can be just an aspiration for somebody who would just want to go. It's a combination of both a need and an aspiration. And of course, now if you look at this picture over here, there are definitely a fundamental objectives which become a need. Retirement is one of those which is definitely a need for everybody. Everybody wants to retire comfortably. In the sense, when I say retire, it is not just from the work aspect of retirement, but it's also how comfortable one is able to create wealth for themselves and leave the post retirement. So this is a particular need, and security is a particular need. Like this part of it, we say, okay, there is a need over here to secure, and retirement is a need. Many are just aspirations. So it is again debatable, but then there are certain needs and aspirations. The point is, at what point we have those needs, at that point we distinguish some of them as needs, some of them as aspirations, is something that we will need to delve deeper each one, and we will move forward. And then there are certain events that we do expect, sometimes most unexpected things. For example, even if it's unintentionally, because someone else or something else, we are prone to these events, and we must expect the unexpected. What happens if something of this sort happens? Unknown misery, could be anything, it could be job loss, it could be anything that comes up, and then we are readily prepared to see how we manage ourselves in dealing with the unknown misery over there, and so on and so forth. If you look at, each one, I'm not going to go explaining each of these natural calamities. Pandemic is one such fresh event for all of us, unexpected, and very major impact, not only the lives, loss of lives, but also assets and things like that. And then, these are all something that is unexpected, though certainly we may know that these things bound to happen, but when it happens and how to deal with those is one of the things that, as individually, we are more prepared to deal with that. It's all about preparedness, and then we keep that in the objective while we take any decisions around our income, that we are earning and then spending. That becomes a part and parcel of understanding the needs and aspirations, and and keep expecting the unexpected ones. So then one question always comes for us: why do we want to invest? There are various ways. People say, I want to invest because I want to make more money. मुझे थोड़ा पैसा बनाना है, इसके लिए invest करना है. There is much more awareness today. In fact, thanks to the awareness that is building on in the environments, that people are more aware that I want to invest to fulfill certain goals, I want to invest to beat inflation, I want to invest. So there are various ways that people are being really aware of. उनको मालूम है कि invest क्यों करना चाहिए beyond the return. Some time back, at least in my experience, a decade back or so, people would want to focus on returns, and I want superior returns from what it is. But today the awareness has enhanced from just the returns angle to fulfilling on various objectives. And why one of the major objectives is this only. So as a need, this became a need for many of us. Assuming inflation at 7%, just giving a small calculation over here, your inflation keeps reducing the value of your savings. So you have a lakh of rupees today, but supposing somebody promises to give you, maybe borrows money from you and promises to pay you after maybe 5 years, the same money that you get after 5 years, 5 साल के बाद आपका 1 लाख तो 1 लाख नहीं रहेगा, आपका almost all 70,000 is there. At the same 1 lakh is now becoming 50,000 at the end of 10 years. So the rupee value, though आपको करेंसी में या अमाउंट में you will get 1 lakh rupees back, but the value of the 1 lakh keep reducing. And precisely why you and I would want to see how we manage that and see how we counter that, so that we have an objective of beating that inflation. On the other hand, one is it's reducing the value of your savings, and on the other hand, as we all know, the petrol price, be it the petrol prices now, or be it any food item that we have now and what it was past 5 years, 10 years back, the expenses, the value of our expenses keep continuously increasing. That's a natural phenomena in the developing economies. The more the price rise will happen, and hence we will have to see how our rupee that we earn today holds the same value after 5 years, after 10 years. So if somebody asks, आप क्यों invest कर रहे हैं, तो आपको एटलीस्ट वो क्वेश्चन तो क्लियर होना है कि आज मैं जो खा रहा हूँ, whatever I'm eating today, the same quantity that I'm eating today, the same quality that I'm eating, in the same quality, I must be able to eat and buy the same products, buy the same food, or thing even after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. But will I be able to live that life with the money that I'm currently holding, the rupee that currently holding? Your inflation is actually a part of that. That inflation keeps increasing the value of your expenses. So if you look at one end, the left side, you see your value of your savings is reducing. On the other hand, your value of your expenses increasing. So why invest? You first thing, first and foremost, is you bring investment into the word investment, because no, you would want to really appreciate the rupee value, to hold the rupee value. That is the primary reason why you and I would think about investment. Otherwise, we and I do not have to think about investments. A saving will do good, very conservative way to just save in a traditional products that like a deposits, bank deposits, company deposits, or government schemes or so. It is absolutely fine because it is safe, and it is, there is a kind of a guaranteed products over there. But if somebody is committed to even living this and beat inflation, that is where your first objective of investment comes, to beat inflation and keep my rupee value. If you look at both expenses and savings, there is a mismatch. On one hand, as we have seen here, the expenses, the value of the expenses is increasing. On the other hand, the value of your savings is reducing. To fill this gap is the fundamental reason why you and I look at investment. Where we invest, how we invest, which asset class will really fulfill that gap, fill that gap, is something that we can look at as we move along. Definitely, we know there are only four if you look at broadly asset class, आपको सिर्फ 4 मिलेंगे broadly अगर मैं बात कर रहा हूँ तो. एक है आपका कैश व्हेन आई से सेविंग्स अकाउंट या शॉर्ट टर्म, वो एक एसेट क्लास है. एंड देन दूसरा एसेट क्लास है आपका बॉन्ड्स या डिबेंचर्स, अगर आप इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, दैट इज दी another asset class. Equities as an asset class, and when I say cash, it includes gold also, highly liquid. That is what I mean by cash or its equivalent. And the other asset class is real estate, which is tangible in nature. These are the broadly, if you look at all the investment decisions that we make, are bucketed into these four: that cash and equivalent, which is kind of a immediate needs that will help you with, and bonds, debentures, deposits, and all that, the second. And the third part is the equities or shares that we invest in, financial assets. These are all financial asset classes. And then real estate also is one of those asset classes. Broadly, these are the four asset classes that are considered for investments. And you will have to look at whether the inflation can be really managed to deal with the inflation, overcome the inflation as we move along. So why financial planning? Financial planning is for various reasons. Some of these that is available on the screen here is only for those reasons. One is definitely manage the inflation, increase life expectancy. See, there are two things in financial planning. One, why financial planning? You don't know, I don't know when I will pop off, when I will die, right? So that is why I need to cover my life and cover my assets, so that my near and dear will get to live a comfortable life. I don't know when I will die, and that's why I need to plan, cover my risk, adequately cover my risk, so that my dependents are happy. That is one of the reasons why I need to do a plan. Second is, I don't know how long I will live. Increased life expectancy is another aspect. So if I know that I'm living for maybe 80, 90 years, which is increased life expectancies that have been increasing from previous decades to this decade, as we are seeing that. Now, that is one of the reasons why I need to also look at financial planning is required. If I live for 80 years, after my retirement, I have 20 more years, whether the savings or investments that I'm making, will I be able to survive that? Will I be able to comfortably live after my retirement, given that there are expenses on the health side, medical expenses increasing, and various other aspects. It is as it is given on the slide. There are various reasons why financial planning. So growing aspirations, as we have already seen covered in the first slide. Why financial planning? This is again very critical. If I ask you, अगर आपको मैं पूछ रहा हूँ कि आप किसमें इन्वेस्ट करने वाले हो या किसमें आप सेव करने वाले हो, so you have maze of financial products in front of you, and sometimes some of the products will be very tempting for you to invest, and some products you may just want to invest because it's easily available for you. So if you look at bank fixed deposits, company fixed deposits, post office schemes, or something that are readily अपने को जो we know that already it's available, readily available as an information for us. Gold is one of those products that everybody wants to invest. If you look at the only difference between bank, company, or post office schemes, they are financial assets only for the for say where you will own. It's only they are not tangible, they are intangible assets. तो पेपर में आपको मिलेगा कितना है, क्या प्रॉमिस देगा, etc. Gold has dual purpose. Gold में आपको it is both used for consumption as well as an investment vehicle. Somebody who wants to buy gold to use gold for themselves, then it becomes consumption. Somebody wants to buy gold as an investment so that in times of war or in times of event, this is the commodity that is very easily liquidatable across, and hence it can be used as an investment. Real estate again has a dual purpose. People may want to consume it. Somebody wants to buy a house and live in it, it becomes a consumption. Somebody wants to buy another house and only use it for rental purposes, it becomes an investment. That's why some assets do fulfill dual purposes over there. And there are other products, insurance products, which have various other products attached to it to cover various risks per se. Then you have public provident fund, small savings scheme, you have stocks and equities, you have government securities where you want to invest, corporate bonds, debentures, itne sare, financial products hai samne that, we sometimes don't know whether we are investing, which asset class we are investing, which instrument we are investing, and why we are investing. So more importantly, and of course mutual funds एक है, mutual funds PMS, AIF products है, NPS है. So there are many products. So at some point in time, investors have so much of choice in front of them that there is an overload of choices. Whether my investment is right, whether I'm making a right investment decision or saving decision that I'm putting into it, that is exactly where you require some kind of a financial planning orientation. Even if you invest in any of these, at end of that investment decision, if you are able to know why you have invested convincingly, I think half the problems or half the issues are solved once we know why do we invest beyond just the returns or beyond just any other requirements. Mostly what happens is everybody is busy in their own professional professions, but the way the finances are handled is whether one goes with the flow. कुछ भी आया, कुछ भी इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए मिल गया तो उसमें चलो डालेंगे, अभी अच्छा मार्केट चल रहा है, मार्केट अच्छा गिरा है तो उसमें डालेंगे, या मार्केट गिर रहा है तो निकाल, all these are, we do not know why we invest. It's just going with the flow. No more expectations. जो आएगा उसमें जाके डालने का है, और जो investment basket में जो उसमें we'll have to put it in those investment baskets. And so whatever happens, let us see that. One of the ways that people generally do it is with or without your knowledge, you would have gathered so many products into your investment basket. एंड अगर आज के दिन आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट पोर्टफोलियो देखेंगे, अब बास्केट में, अगर घर में आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट बास्केट में देखेंगे क्या क्या इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है, यू कैन थिंक अबाउट इट, हाउ डिड दे कम इनटू दोस एट अ फर्स्ट प्लेस, उतना आप वो कैसा आपका जगह लिया है. सो इट इज आइदर यू वुड हैव हर्ड somehow you wanted to save, somebody would have told, somebody would have recommended you, immediately wanted to save for something else. It just comes into it. Now you are going with the flow of those baskets. The other part of it is whether you're able to do a planning. why are you investing in each of those products? Do you have a plan for it? Did you plan to invest in that, or has it just come into your basket, your investment basket, right? So do you have a goal for each of that you have invested in this particular fixed deposit for 1 year? So at the end of 1 year, what are you going to do with that money that you are investing for 1 year? So do you have a plan for it? If not, it will just be lying that it's a deposit ticket or the fund or whatever is that be, but the investment will be lying as is over there. So one of the key aspects in planning is a simple budgeting. People may be doing it on a monthly basis में कितना मेरा income है और कितना मेरा expenses है. There are some non discretionary expenses जैसा utilities वगैरह वगैरह पूरा उसमें चले जाते हैं, और बाकी जो बचा है whatever is remaining will go into various savings, and whatever is those the investment baskets that you would have had that. So these savings can be again put into various investment vehicles to fulfill your goals, whether it be short-term goals, maybe long-term goals, maybe 1 year goal, 3 year goal, 5 year goal, 7 year goal, 10 year goal. If you are making those investments for a particular goal, you will have all that. Out of those, you will again generate income, and that's a cycle. Whatever you generate to fulfill a particular goal and an object. Now, one way, as you know, we began this is in the savings or investments. What is required if somebody wants to be a little more disciplined, one can just change the formula of over here. Instead of first looking at your expenses, if I'm earning say 100 rupees, so I know that at least 10 rupees I will keep it aside for savings, and then I will manage at least 10 rupees, and then I will manage the other 90 rupees with my expenses, whether it is discretionary, non-discretionary expenses, but I will manage myself. Whether it is 10 rupees or 20 rupees is completely my choice and my lifestyle, my needs that is there. But that will bring in discipline. The moment I'm keeping some portion aside only for savings and only for fulfilling those goals out of it, then what am I doing is I'm really getting into a kind of a discipline in the area of savings and investments. अगर वो discipline नहीं लाया तो what happens is जो पैसा बचा है, whatever is the savings that is remaining, that will somehow enter into your investment basket for some reason or the other, which sometimes you know, sometimes you may not know also, right? So that is the reason why there could be some kind of a discipline when you change the formula, bring it over here and take the expenses over there. One of the critical reasons that we do understand, many of us would want to, as investors, we would like to go for superior returns or go get a better, to hold a rupee value. Superior return, if we know that we are holding it for getting a good rupee value out of it, then it is known. But many of us do take decisions and would want to invest for a market return. One thing that we need to understand is these are the things, if you look at in the entire financial planning arena, if you look at, these are some of the things that are completely out of your control. If I ask you आलू का प्राइस क्या है आफ्टर tomorrow or day after or so, or tomato का प्राइस क्या हो सकता है, perhaps you and I cannot know that or define that. I'm just giving as an example. So certain products, they go by the market prices, and you and I have no control over the supply and the demand of those items over there which we are buying and selling in the market. Completely out of control. It is not there in our control. We have no idea as to how many people will come and buy, how many people will sell, and how much gets sold at the end of the day, whatever is the price. You and I as individuals, we do not have any control over that price. That is the return that comes out of the market. Of course, sometimes that is completely top-down policy, taxation, and the benefits what the government comes out with so much. Stamp duty suddenly, we have seen mutual fund is actually, and we had that stamp duty being introduced and 2 years back, and so we saw that, and it was not in our control, right? So that is also totally out of our control. But if we are making decisions for these reasons, then which is completely out of our control, then we can just stop and think about it whether it is worth spending time in really investing for these reasons. It is important, but how much time we should manage over here. Some control तो ये होगा. So for example, if I'm doing the job and if I'm doing a good job over a longer period of time, I have some control on my employment. Whether it is a self-employment or an employer doing a good business or a good job earning something, I can bring in some kind of a stability over there. If I'm managing my health well, by and large, it's good health, good fitness. And so maybe I will live for maybe another year than what it is. That is some control we can exercise by following some discipline of performance in the areas that we are working. Now, where is it that you and I have total control? 100% अपने ही हाथ में वो है. क्या चीज है? कितना हम सेव करेंगे, कितना हम स्पेंड करेंगे, वो चीज अपने ही हाथ में है. 100% वो अपने हाथ में है. एंड कौन सा पैसा कहाँ पे डालेंगे वो भी अपनी ही चॉइस है, अपने ही हाथ में है. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो बास्केट में आ गया, somehow it has entered into our basket, but that is also our choice. So how much we have to invest in gold, how much we have to invest in various other asset classes, various other instruments, savings instruments या investment assets that we spoke about, ये दोनों चीज हमारे हाथ में है. जो हमारे हाथ में है, इट्स 100% कंट्रोल. जो जहाँ हमारे हाथ में है, that is where we can really exercise and make best out of that, rather than looking at only these and seeing somehow. So this is the one of the fundamentals that you can control, and that's where you need a financial planner or somebody who can help you, guide you in seeing how much you have to save, how much you have to spend, how much you have to put your money into, and why would you want to put that money into the particular asset class. It requires certain level of planning, and that's where the importance of financial planning will come. As I said in the beginning, we all have needs and aspirations. The first thing that anybody would look at is ensure for a solid foundation. And if I am living a life, whether my risk is covered. So risk is of various asset classes, whether the car that I'm using is covered, my house that I'm having, which is prone to fire or thing, is it covered? My health, is it covered, so that I don't spend money from my pockets that I earn, at least, that to some extent or so, that those are covered for me. So I'm ensuring a foundation by adequately covering. So not as in today's date that I'm looking at covering, but if something happens to me after 10 years from now, and the money that I receive after 10 years from now, will it help my family fulfill their needs? That is where I need to look at adequately whether I'm able to cover those. And these are some of the ways that we cover for various things that we have seen, whether it is life cover, health cover, and or various other physical assets. एक और एक solid foundation create कर सकते हैं, but that I have not put it here. See, क्या होगा? Supposing if you are not planning for creating a short-term corpus for you, a pandemic-like situation, whether you are in a business or whether you are employed somewhere, you are salaried or so. अगर आपका जो खर्चा हो रहा है, महीने का खर्चा, अगर आप नहीं निकाल पाते हैं, उसके लिए प्लान नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो उस सिचुएशंस में बहुत सारा पैनिक हो सकता है, वरी हो सकता है. सो फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग मस्ट help you live a life with so much of freedom from all your, आपको जो वरीज जो है उसमें से आपको थोड़ा बहुत तो वो निकाल सकते हैं with a proper planning. If you would have created an emergency fund, for example, जो नाम तो बहुत है, कोई बोलते हैं इमरजेंसी फंड, कोई बोलते हैं कंटिंजेंसी फंड, कोई बोलते हैं कुछ और, पर उसका पॉइंट ये है कि अगर आपका 3 महीने का जो खर्चा हो रहा है, वो अगर आप उसके लिए प्लान करते हैं और बाजू डालते हैं, ओनली इन टाइम्स ऑफ immediate requirements or emergencies that you will use that. That is also creating one of the foundations for you in the investment world. When you start investing, you will also think about whether 3 months is okay, whether 6 months is okay. So there are people who say 3 months to 6 months is fine. There are people who also advocate 1 year of monthly expenses would be, good to have. But then important that you start building your foundation so that आपका जो कुछ भी EMIs हो या बच्चों का ट्यूशन हो, अगर बच्चों का ट्यूशन भी है तो उसमें आपका एक्सपेंसेस जो कुछ भी मंथली हो रहा है, if you are planning for that, then even if something happens on a monthly basis here and there, you have an emergency fund to fall back. That is ensuring a solid foundation. See, the whole idea of having this conversation, friends, is to see how you are equipped and handling your life, which is dependent on the finances that you are earning and you are saving. If it is not favoring you, अगर आपका favor में वो आपका decisions नहीं है, then there is an opportunity for you to relook, revisit those, and then make new decisions around those savings and investment, such that every decision that you make on your savings or investments is always bound to be in your favor. Your favor matlab kya hai? It must fulfill some of your objectives, life objectives, through those asset classes. And that is why you are investing. That is the fundamental reason why you are investing. ओवर एंड अबव आपके पास पैसा ज्यादा है, थोड़ा खेलना चाहते हैं तो तो वो भी खेल सकते हैं, पर उसके लिए आप बाजू लगाइए ना। आप अगर 100 रुपया आप योर अर्निंग्स 100 रुपीज कमा रहे हैं, 100 रुपया, तो उसमें पूरा जो कमा रहे हैं, जो कुछ भी आप सेव कर रहे हैं, वो सेविंग पूरा खेलिए मत ना, थोड़ा बहुत खेलिए। सो इफ आई हैव 100 रुपीज ऑफ इन्वेस्टेबल सरप्लस, जो मेरा पैसा है इन्वेस्ट करने का, अगर 100 रुपीज मेरे पास है, तो एटलीस्ट 80 रुपीज तक तो मैं स्ट्रेटेजिकली मैं सेव करूंगा टू फुलफिल माय गोल्स, वेरियस गोल्स। इट कुड बी शॉर्ट टर्म, इट कुड बी मीडियम टर्म, इट कुड बी लॉन्ग टर्म गोल्स, व्हाटएवर। बाकी जो 20 रुपया है विच इज फ्रॉम द इन्वेस्टेबल सरप्लस, अगर मुझे खेलना चाहता हूँ तो मैं खेल भी सकता हूँ, इट इज माई पर्सनल चॉइस। तो अगर वो 20 रुपया गया या 10 रुपया गया, वो तो मेरा चॉइस है, मैं 10 रुपए से खेलूं या 20 रुपए से खेलूं। लेकिन इफ आई वांट टू रियली व्हेन आई से खेलूं, व्हाट आई मीन इज हाउ इफ यू वांट टू जस्ट मेक सम स्पेकुलेशन, मेक सम, अच्छा ये प्राइस में मैं डालूं कि नहीं डालूं, तो वो आपका होगा। अगर आप जब वो लॉस भी होगा, यू विल नॉट फील वरीड अबाउट दैट लॉस। व्हाई? बिकॉज यू आर कॉन्शियसली टेकिंग दैट डिसीजन। अरे उसके लिए ही आप वो बाजू लगाए। लेकिन अगर वो पूरा 100 रुपीज इन्वेस्टेबल सरप्लस लेके आप पूरा इस तरह आप इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, और जब पैनिक सिचुएशंस ऐसा होंगे, आप अनफोर्सिन सिचुएशंस होंगे, तो आपको पैनिक लगेगा। दैट इज वेयर यू विल रियली फील वरीड अबाउट योर मनी। तो रिस्क, मार्केट का कोई रिस्क नहीं है, कौन सा भी इन्वेस्टमेंट में रिस्क नहीं है। यानी कि हर इन्वेस्टमेंट का अपना अपना रिस्क है। we know that, must know that every investment has its own risk। लेकिन सबसे बड़ा रिस्क है कि उस रिस्क को नहीं जान के उसमें इन्वेस्ट करना, वो सबसे बड़ा रिस्क है। एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट रिक्वायर्स अस टू रियली प्लान अकॉर्डिंगली एंड देन मेक अ डिसीजन। सो रिस्क जान लिया और इन्वेस्ट करा, उसमें कोई रिस्क नहीं है, इट्स परफेक्ट। आई नो दैट द मार्केट्स विल बिहेव लाइक दिस, सो दिस मनी इज फॉर अ लॉन्ग टर्म and hence I don't have to worry about it. But if I don't know market behavior will be like this, and I come and invest for only a few months, or I just entered and suddenly I see the markets go down, then and I must be worried, because if my time horizon is only 1 year, and in that 1 year I invested in for a very short term in the markets to make quick money, then I should be worried, because I might be using that money or requiring that money in 1 year's time frame. I can't risk that high. ये जानकारी बहुत जरूरी है when you and I are dealing with savings and investments. So the best way to look at understanding these are some of these goals that we need to look at financial planning का goals है, immediately what we will do is in the next few slides I will take you through what are your need to have, there are certain things, what are your need to have goals for commitments, किंतु आपको ये चाहिए ही चाहिए, these are something that you really need, उसके बिना आप आपका जिंदगी चला नहीं सकते हैं, नेक्स्ट ईयर नेक्स्ट 3 इयर्स आपका ट्यूशन फीस हो सकते हैं बच्चों का या कुछ भी हो सकता है, these are your needs which are based on those needs. ये गोल्स आपको डिस्टिंग्विश करना पड़ेगा, रिफाइन करना पड़ेगा और उसके हिसाब से आप प्लानिंग करेंगे, आप सेव करेंगे और इन्वेस्ट करेंगे। एंड उसके बाद आप जब गोल्स करें तो व्हाट एक्शंस आर यू टेकिंग, नीड तो भाई मिल गया, तो अभी उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, उसके लिए एक्शन ले रहा हूँ कि नहीं, दैट इज वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट वी look at, not only defining goals but am I also taking actions consistent to those needs that I have. What are your good to have goals? अच्छा है वेकेशन जाना है, हॉलीडे जाना है फैमिली को लेके, वो उसका कोई जरूरी नहीं है, नीड नहीं है, पर थोड़ा बहुत पैसा है वो तो एस्पायरेशन है, प्लान भी कर सकते हैं, इतना लाइफ से थोड़ा बाजू हटा के फैमिली को घुमा सकते हैं और कुछ भी खुद घूम लेंगे। सो दीज आर समथिंग गुड टू हैव गोल्स, उसके लिए भी आप अगर इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, बाजू पैसा लगा रहे हैं, तो वो आपके लिए हो, लेकिन आपको वो डिफाइन करना जरूरी है। लेकिन अगर आप डिफाइन नहीं करोगे तो आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट बास्केट में ऐसा ही आएगा और आप कुछ ना कुछ सोचते रहोगे कि मैं इस पैसे को इसके लिए मैं इस्तेमाल करूंगा, राइट। एंड देन यू लुक एट व्हाट एक्शंस आर यू टेकिंग फॉर गुड टू हैव गोल्स, दोनों अलग अलग गोल्स है, you can't mix up those goals and their goals. If you are a goal oriented person, if you are somebody who's wanting to fulfill some of the life goals and it is important for you, then you will look at what are the actions, goals and define the goals and taking actions. बाद में क्या है, एक्शंस तो ले लेंगे आप, इसमें सेव करेंगे, उसमें इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, एक्शंस तो ले चुके हैं, अभी क्या, उसके बाद इम्पोर्टेंट इज आपका एक्शंस कितना इफेक्टिव है, वो आपको देखना पड़ेगा, यानी कि आपका कितना डिसिप्लिन आपको उसमें जा रहा है। आपके यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग फॉर अ लॉन्ग टर्म गोल एंड सडनली सम इमरजेंसी कम्स अप, यू विड्रॉ दैट मनी, क्यों ऐसा होगा, दैट इज बिकॉज यू समवेयर द प्लानिंग हैज नॉट गॉन वेरी वेल, because that is the reason why we want to look at long term डिफाइन करना है, मीडियम टर्म डिफाइन करना है, शॉर्ट टर्म डिफाइन करना है, उस शॉर्ट टर्म में जरूरतें क्या है डिफाइन करना है, चाहते क्या है वो डिफाइन करना है, हर जगह आपका जरूरतें भी होगा, चाहते भी होगा, वो अलग करना है, आपके लाइफ में आपको क्या जरूरतें हैं, चाहते हैं, वो आप डिफाइन कर सकते हो, बट दैट इज रियली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू to effectively manage whether you are looking at your actions and how do you monitor them. कितने कितने बार आप मॉनिटर करते हो कि वो गोल्स का आप कहीं ना कहीं आप जा रहे हैं, वेयर आर यू ऑन दैट एंड हाउ फ्रीक्वेंटली आर यू मॉनिटरिंग दैट, शुड आई डू इट, आज इन्वेस्ट करके मैं एवरी डे मॉनिटर करूं, एवरी मंथ मॉनिटर करूं, एवरी इवेंट में मैं मॉनिटर करूं, या एक साल में एक बार मॉनिटर करूं, या कितने साल में एक मॉनिटर करना है, ये सब these are some of the questions if you are serious about you are fulfilling on goals, and what is the frequency, ideal frequency for you to monitor your actions over there in looking at where your goals are. So these are some of the goals, the smart goals hai ye, are your goals very smart enough? So as I said, there could be some vague goals. I want to travel for vacation is not a specific goal, but I want to travel for 1 month to a Europe tour, वो बहुत ही specifically हो जाएगा. The more you are specific about your goal, the more it is clearer for you how much you will take, measurable. आपको I need some money to fund my travel एक vague है, पर लेकिन I need 5 lakhs for this particular travel, तो उसके लिए आप अभी स्टार्ट करेंगे आपका प्लानिंग, अगर स्टार्ट कर चुके हैं वो अलग है। आई विल फंड माई ट्रैवल फ्रॉम माई करंट इनकम, चाहे आपका बिजनेस हो या जॉब हो, बट यू आर फंडिंग योर ट्रैवल फ्रॉम, दैट इज वेग। लेकिन अगर आप वहां से बोलेंगे कि मैं 10% ऑफ माई इनकम आई विल टेक आउट ओनली फॉर दिस पर्पस, दैट इज अचीवेबल, somewhere that kind of thing can be achievable. Real goals very specific. एग्जाम्पल ऑफ अ गोल बेस्ड सिर्फ आपको दिखाने के लिए है. So you just look at a single person who's 25 years, can fulfill multiple goals. It could be, because someone is 25 years, and if you have fulfill long-term goals of maybe retirement, you have 35 years for retirement, then you have 15 years. ये सब आप बदल सकते हैं. आपके यहाँ पे specific goal है. I'm just giving here as an example for you that you can really look at multiple goals that you can fulfill, whether it be short term, whether it be medium term, or whether it be long term. And you can look at what is the target that you want to build as a corpus, और उसके लिए आपको कितना SIP चाहिए. बहुत ऐसे इन्वेस्टर्स हैं जो SIP करते हैं, और लेकिन क्यों करते हैं उनको पता नहीं. किसी भी तरह वो इन्वेस्टमेंट बास्केट में आ गया है SIP, और देन जब मार्केट इधर उधर होगा तो वो निकाल लेंगे. तो पहली बार भैया आप क्यों इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं और क्यों निकाल रहे हैं इतने टाइम में. That is very important for you to really question yourself whenever you are making. And these are just an example of how you can fulfill multiple goals. These can vary in different ones because it's a long term. You can assume a much more conservative 10 to 12% return. It's a short term, medium term. ये है short term, तो मतलब आपका सेविंग्स बैंक भी चलेगा, यानी कि आपका लिक्विड फंड भी चलेगा, या 1 year kind of investments. You can really look at those. It's important that you can fulfill multiple goals with a proper planning. ये आपको जरूरी है कि वो जानने का, नहीं तो इन्वेस्टमेंट बास्केट में वैसा ही हो जाएगा. So on that note, before the last couple of slides that I'm going to share with you, how to choose a mutual fund quickly. The first thing, many investors come into a fund without having any plan for it, but each product has its time horizon. आप देखिए, there are so many mutual funds with so many risk and return reward. यहाँ पे आप यहाँ पे आ सकते हो. So you can come into a diversified equity fund. You can come into sector specific funds. Each fund has its own risk return spectrum. ये ज्यादा रिटर्न पोटेंशियल है और इसको बहुत सारा रिस्क एसोसिएटेड है. क्या आप ये जानते हैं जब आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि इसका रिस्क कितना हाई है, और इसके लिए आप आ रहे हैं तो कोई रिस्क नहीं है. अगर आप नहीं जानते हैं तो वो रिस्क होगा है. So that is the reason why there are so many products that are available for you to choose from. First thing is you will have to plan your time horizon. आपका कितने समय तक आपका जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है. If I might have 100 rupees, but out of that 20 rupees is for my immediate need, और 40 rupees is for my immediate need, तो उसको 1 to 6 months में लगाऊं या 6 to 12 months में लगाऊं, वो मेरा चॉइस है. I need to put in products which will match my time horizon. I can't put in any product and give a time horizon according to what I feel it is. Every product has its own time horizon. इसके लिए it's important. If you are investing in equity and tracking for 6 months or 10 months or 12 months and so, equity product is not actually meant for that. Because you are investing fundamentally in a business for its future earnings and its sustainable profits over a period of time. So it will go through so many cycles. Market cycle है, economic cycle है, खुद का business का एक cycle है, ये सब जाएगा. So for a business to come out with its actual performance and then you being a part of that, it will take long time. अगर इसके लिए आप नहीं आ रहे हैं तो all that you are doing is you are timing the market for prices, capital appreciation. Immediately अभी मैं low में डालूंगा, high जाएगा तो मैं profit book करूंगा. This is more of a speculative in nature. I'm not saying you should not do that, but do you know that when you say investment, you are coming with that perspective? If you know that you are coming and it is not an appropriate time horizon for you and still you want, then there is no risk to worry, no risk. But if you do not know that, then there is a risk element over there. Well, understanding that's important. Also, more important is understanding your own psychology. आप देखिए, आप see whether you are aggressive or you are conservative, you are a moderate kind of a category. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप सिर्फ कंजर्वेटिव है तो आप कंजर्वेटिव ही रहेंगे. शायद when you are beginning to in the investment world, you will start in a very conservative approach. आपका 3 साल का पैसा है तो 3 साल का आप डिपॉजिट में भी थोड़ा डालेंगे हाइब्रिड फंड में थोड़ा डालेंगे, देखेंगे कि कैसा है. Then slowly as you start developing your interest, then you might become a moderate investor over a period of time, not be 3 years or so, but as you understand the products, a conservative investor has a potential to become a moderate and as well as aggressive. It can be a combination of this, but you must identify what is your tolerance level. आपका रिस्क कैटेगरी में कहाँ है. अगर आप अग्रेसिव इन्वेस्टर हो और आप बॉन्ड में डाल रहे हैं, तो इट इज अ मिसमैच, वो डिसअपॉइंटिंग एक्सपीरियंस आपको होगा. सिमिलरली अगर आप कंजर्वेटिव इन्वेस्टर हो, बाय साइकोलॉजी आप कंजर्वेटिव इन्वेस्टर हो, आप ज्यादा रिस्क टॉलरेट नहीं करेंगे और आप रिस्की प्रोडक्ट्स में आएंगे, इट विल बी अ मिसमैच, इट विल बी अ डिसअपॉइंटिंग एक्सपीरियंस, स्पेसिफिकली इफ यू आर कमिंग इनटू योर रिस्की प्रोडक्ट्स. मोर ओवर, if you are not honoring the time horizon of that particular product. हर प्रोडक्ट का अपना अपना टाइम होराइजन होता है. आप कुछ भी लीजिए, फ्रूट का भी अपना अपना, आम का सीजन मालूम है उसको तो 5 साल to 7 साल लगेगा. जब आप when you put a sow a seed of a mango, it will take 5 to 7 years to get a fruit. There is no guarantee that you will get a fruit even at the end of 5 or 7 years. The surroundings, the environment, the fertility, everything has to be in favor. But the product will give you, the mango will give you, at least it will take 5 to 7 years to get a fruit from the day you sow. So this is important for every investment product has its own time horizon. वो जानना बहुत जरूरी है. And then we will look at, that's how you will match your products with your time horizon and with your other products, mutual products, and your psychology, where you are, whether you are a risk taker, whether you can start making those decisions. Last part of this, it's important that you invest to harness the power of compounding. आप देखिए, अगर आप 25 साल में अगर आप शुरू करेंगे, 1000 rupees you are investing for 30 years. By the time you retire, 35 years का आपका time horizon है. What you will accumulate is 38 lakhs. Same 1000 rupees you are investing. But if you started somewhere here at age of 30 or at the age of 35, can you see, until you retire, that is again 60 years is your retirement age, then what you will accumulate at a 10% per annum basis, and they are very conservatively looking at it, your accumulation is very less naturally, because your time horizon is, time is moving out, and for every 5 years delay reduces the wealth by half. यहाँ पे है. So it's important that you start early and harness the power of compounding. At the same time, be disciplined in your investment for those time horizons that you're investing for. Right? It always pays to start early and save for your long-term goals. So on that note, I would like to just close this session. कितना equity में डालना है, debt में डालना है, your investment advisor will be able to help you. Your financial consultant will be able to help you on that. So on that note, I'm going to close this session over here. So if you look at the takeaway from this session is match your investments to meet your life goals. कुछ भी आप invest कर रहे हैं, एक आपका favor में आपका life goal को fulfill करने के लिए कर रहे हैं. Match your investment products to suit your risk profile. आपके risk profile के हिसाब से आप invest करेंगे products में, और then you will follow investment discipline for healthy financial life. वो तो life के लिए discipline जरूरी है, तो financial life is not just a part of our life. So on that note, I would like to just thank all of you for giving this time and spending this time with us. And Harsh, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. I'm closing this session here and open to any of the things that you may want to take it forward from here.
Yeah, thanks, Vidya. I think it was very insightful, and all the millennials, need the taste of the reality, how they need to manage their finances. So Vidya, we have couple of questions, not more. If you can help answer.
Sure.
So one of the question is, at the time of inflation. So the gentleman is asking, we should he consider gold as an investment when the inflations are out of control, or should he stick with something like a floating rate bond fund?
Okay, so let me answer this in two different ways. One is, my request is don't look at the market situation and then take a decision to invest. What, as I said, again, let me reiterate that if you are investing in gold, why would you want to invest in gold? Look at that. What is the goal that you will fulfill out of gold? Not because market is performing this way, because we have no idea how the markets will behave over a shorter period of time. Yeah, absolutely no idea. Nobody can predict how the markets will go. It's only a conviction. But if your question is in the rising interest rate scenario, अगर आप interest rates अभी बढ़ते हुए देख रहे हैं, and then you want to make a good out of it, then some of the things that are possible for as an investor to take advantage is come into those products which are inflation linked or interest rate linked. तो आपके लिए floating rate instruments ऐसा है, floating funds ऐसा है, which are pegged to the interest rates, whatever. Each time there is an increase in the interest rate, your fund also will be pegged to that increase, and hence you are able to hold that value over a short period of time.
Correct. So next question is, we have a lot of first-time, investors in this category, where we talk about millennials. So while we've understood that you've covered some part of it. So if, say, for example, if a customer is only investing into FDs, is very new to equity markets, any particular category or strategy that you would recommend an investor to start to take his investments forward?
Good question. Thank you for that. But I would also like to say, if you're starting with an FD, you're inculcating a savings habit, which I really appreciate that. That is the beginning for anyone to start inculcating the habit of saving. But once the question is around investing, then fixed deposits, FDs were traditionally very safe. And if you have any short-term needs, 6 months, 1 year, that's okay, koi parwa nahi, because you are inculcating that. But if you have a long-term goals associated, and it could be anything, start putting into investments, participate in the equities, and or any other asset class which will give you capital appreciation. To my knowledge, I've been in the industry for the last 22 years now, and then equity is one of the best asset classes over a long period of time, which will fulfill many investment objectives, life objectives through those investments. So if you are a beginner, make a systematic investment plan into any of the diversified equity to start with, because it has an advantage, and then keep it for a longer period of time. And when I say longer period of time, create a goal for yourself, which is long enough. Retirement is the longest goal, but you can start with even a 5-year goal or a 7-year goal where you want to fulfill that. That you can start off while keeping your fixed deposits also as your savings habit that you can create. You must put some portion into fixed deposits that will help you, over a short-term needs when you want that.
Okay.
Like so fixed deposits or liquid fund.
So we have a very interesting question. We have a theme that we want to understand. So typically all the millennials are kind of trapped, or they have easy liquidity available by some short-term loans, using EMIs. Now there is a new concept introduced in the market, buy now pay later, and many such financial institutions are offering such products at a very high cost of interest. While at Moneyfy we would want to ask our users, save now pay later, pehle paise bacha and then fulfill your dreams. So what will be your piece of recommendation to such users who are getting trapped, to get an immediate consumption by borrowing money?
See, even I use credit cards. Okay, just to share, this is my personal. Okay, I use credit cards for immediate needs, but if I know how I balance my credit card, which is high interest, okay, so which is maybe it can go to 36% per annum if I don't manage my finances well. So EMIs, a personal loan could give you somewhere around So 12% or 15%, which is, very, very high. And ideally, I would always recommend not to borrow and pay for consumption and pay high interest on that. That is not a healthy habit. I'm taking this wisdom from my father and my elders, and where I have learned that it is not advisable to borrow at a high cost for immediate consumption unless it is a requirement, your helpless condition or so. So but it is a personal choice. You would rather save that amount and some portion of it you really invest, and then you buy that with that amount that you save. And for immediate consumption, I don't know what is the definition of immediate consumption, but that model will really put you in a debt trap if you are not able to manage your finances well and you're not able to clear your dues. You'll end up paying high interest. Nobody would want to be in interest bearing. Nobody would want to borrow and keep paying interest on that for consumptions unless it is emergency need, and close that as early as possible.
Correct. All right. So Vidya, I think we've reached our time limit of an hour today. I think it was a wonderful session, very much insightful for our viewers. I really appreciate you taking some time out and helping our viewers to understand some of these concepts well. Thanks Vidya for joining in for Moneyfy Mantra.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I would also thank all our viewers who would have patiently heard the lessons of wisdom from Vidya today. Thanks everyone for joining in. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great safe weekend. Bye bye.